Hello, I'm Maha here in London. Welcome to Maha's Musings, my podcast. It's been a while since I posted my last video, and I've just been caught up in life. But I'm really glad to say that it was just a pause, and we're continuing with it today here in London. And as I speak, I'm here with a very special guest, Kusum Lata Sawhney. Hi, Kusum.
Hi, Maha.
Who basically lives between London and Delhi. Kusum's a well-published writer, storyteller, and most recently a poet. Her works include Kindred Spirits, Witch Stories, Ayala, and I'm All Woman. That's quite a lot, Kusum. And today we're going to be discussing her collection of poems called We Might Have. And I'll also like to know what future plans you have as well, but we're going to come to that a little later. So without further ado, let's talk about We Might Have. I found this collection of poems had to do with the unprecedented times we live in. Your book was published in 2021, right? And this happened soon after the pandemic. So you have the pandemic as the backdrop to this collection of poems as we confront the unknown. Fast forward 2 years later, and here we are in 2023. So we've got quite a lot to talk about today. So let me start off with, how did this collection of poems give rise to your reflection in a way that short stories could not have?
Right. Thank you for having me here, Maha.
Great to have you.
So, to answer your question, it was during the pandemic, and we were all, so to speak, bundled in our houses. It was all, we were cut off from the rest of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And this was a diary of events. So it was all about emotions
Right.
one was going through as the days passed by, and as each day unfolded. It was first, what is this? What is happening?
Yeah.
Shock, confusion, anger. So many emotions, which I feel which was short, and then you moved on to something else. So a short story was really not the format I was looking at. To be honest, even poetry wasn't the format. It just came about.
Yeah.
And I penned down my thoughts, and it came out in poetry. That's all I can say. And I found that this was the most apt way to record the events as they took place. So it was poetry.
Yeah.
And it came out that way.
Exactly. So did you find yourself drawn to certain emotions while writing these poems? Like,
of course. As I said, we were all in lockdown. Right? So when it first happened, what did we all feel? We were astonished. We didn't know what we were facing. What was this virus? So the first thing you think is, and you're questioning. So you really like, what is this? It'll pass over. So we were told to stay inside. So we all did. And we thought, a couple of weeks, a month, and then we'd all be back on the roads again.
Yeah, that's what we
That did happen. So the next emotion was confusion. And it went on longer. So it was then confusion. Then there was, like I said, anger. Then there was shock. Are we going to have to stay this long?
Yeah.
And then the trauma. People were getting ill. We couldn't believe the kind of casualties that were taking place.
Yeah.
So it was all those emotions that we were all feeling collectively that came out in this book.
And what I find really interesting in her collection of poems is that the pandemic, the virus itself, serves as a medium for deeper existential questions. It's not just talking about the virus as a health issue per se, but it's a medium to discuss and to delve into something much deeper.
Much deeper. Absolutely. I mean, okay, there was this virus, there was this pandemic. How did it come about? Why did it come about? So of course you start looking within, because you have the time to do so.
Yes.
You also look at people around you. What has happened?
Mm.
Why has, and the really key thing is the environment is saying something. And we have to listen to that. Why did this happen? Why are we in this situation? What did we do wrong? And you can't, just negate that and say, no, this is a virus and that's it. You have to answer those questions. Because it's not just us on the planet. We have to share this. We have to look at the way we treat the planet. The total disregard for anything but ourselves. I suppose it couldn't just go on. And this is what it ultimately culminated in. So yes, of course, it begs much more than just a virus. It was represented so many more questions.
And the title itself, We Might Have. Now you find this at the top of every page, and it serves, I think, as a reminder of how we could have done things a little different, but more importantly, going forward, how can we do things now a little more differently, right?
Maha, you got that spot on, and that's the reason why on each page I have written it again and again and again, because we might have done so many things differently, and we wouldn't be in this position. And this terrifying virus just took over because we were callous, we were hypocritical, we didn't care about anything but ourselves. So we might have, my God, there were so many mights. We could have done things so differently, and we would never have been in this position, totally at the mercy of this raging virus. So you're right, absolutely. And that's the title, to be reinforced again and again and again. Like, think, pause, see what you're doing.
Yeah. So while reading your poems, I came across the sense of that the words that came up, there was a sense of like binaries within these poems. For example, you had fury, arrogance, and then you also had words like adaptability, resistance, empathy. There was a lot going on, and I had the feeling that while there was a sense of disillusionment and seeing the worst of humanity, greed and hubris, there was also a sense of building up on your strength, the hidden strength that we have within us. So it gave me a sense of both sadness and hope, which we need to have. So coming into 2023 now today, what's your take on how we've, as a species or as humanity, dealt with this?
Maha, you're absolutely right. There is a myriad emotions in this.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's anger, there's rage, but there's also adaptability and moving forward. So there are all these emotions, and coming at 2021, 2023, we have adapted. Well, we've fought the virus head on. We've got vaccines. We're all inoculated now, and we're in a better position. But that arrogance, that callousness, I'm not so sure it's gone. I think in some ways we've gone back to what we were. For a time we thought the lockdown would be short. It wasn't. Then when it went on and on, I think people reflected on who they were, what they were, their families, what was important to them. Now we're all out of it, and through research we find that we can survive, and we've got a vaccine, and we're all moving around. But COVID is very much here. In fact, you won't believe it, a few weeks ago I got COVID again. But how much have we changed?
Our response to it.
Yes, our response, the way we look at the world. Are we still, because there's no doubt human beings, we're an arrogant, selfish species. Are we still the same? Yes. Unfortunately, I have to say yes in many ways. There are some who look at possibilities of transformation, of being kind. That's a word which I feel very strongly about. Be kind, give. But for the most part, I think we are going back to what we were.
Amazing. So we really are a species that is able to both adapt and resist.
Of course.
We adapt and we also resist change.
We do. Which is quite, I mean, both ends of the spectrum. That's why we are a fascinating species.
Yeah.
But in between that, we are also, we're arrogant, like you said. We get angry, we're short-sighted, we don't think it through, we don't think of others, we always come before. So there's all that in between.
Yeah.
I mean, your question, I think, is have we learned? We learned and then we've gone back.
Gone back. Interesting. Huh?
In some ways.
Yeah.
I was a lot more hopeful, but I'm not so sure now.
What I really liked about your book was that, while reading it, I found that, there's usually like a beginning, middle, end. But I found that while reading it, you could actually, when I used to put it down and then pick it up, it was like a loop. You could pick it up and you never felt, oh, what was I reading before that? You could just pick it up from where you left off and start it again. And you didn't feel as if you had missed. And that's what I liked about it. You could start from page 1 or somewhere in the middle and continue. And similarly, it's like, the virus itself, the pandemic, humanity has always had pandemics, right? This is not a new thing. It's always been there in some form or the other. It's how we respond to it, and there will be future pandemics as well. There have been in the past, and this is nothing new. But for our generation, it was a new phenomena. And as you said, something unprecedented. So it's a challenge as to how our generation has responded to it. And may I say, without taking any personal credit, we as a collective have not done too badly, I would say. Obviously, some others may differ, but here we are talking about it. And one thing I'd like to ask you, Kusum, which I'm really interested in, is as a writer, I like to dabble a little bit in writing myself. What do you think is the duty of a writer? Is it to be honest or to be hopeful?
Wow, Mahat, to be honest, both. Because my themes are all rooted in reality. They're all about, like you mentioned, the caste system, forced marriages, incest. And these are topics and things that happen around us.
Sure.
But if we don't talk about them, if we don't bring them to the fore, if we don't provide a new perspective on how to bring about change, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it is honest. But then hopeful. Absolutely, because without hope, how are you going to bring about that change? So I always strive for presenting it in a manner that people will come to, grips with and want to read. But also with a hope that there can be change. Because without that, then it's a really dark and dismal and despairing world.
Yeah.
And anyway, what I write about is dark. The subject matters are dark. But that doesn't have to be the end.
Yeah.
You work towards something.
Sure, we shouldn't
always.
shirk from it. It's a part of reality.
Absolutely. So yes, both honest and hopeful.
And I like this. Can you just tell me a little bit about your book, the cover? I mean, it's really vivid, and there's this profile of a person. Just tell me a little bit about this.
Well, the cover is red. It's for the rage, really.
The fury.
The fury of the world, the virus. Why did it come about? Because of the way the world was treated. And that's how it came about. So this raging fury.
A red rage, so full of fury.
Absolutely. So that's it. And the black is in a way it's round to denote the world, the planet.
Okay.
But it's black and dark and despairing in a way. So you have both the contrast, and the image is just a human being.
Okay.
Yes. People.
People.
Yes. So that's my thought behind the cover.
Yeah. And it says a lot, and yet it's very sort of stark,
Yes.
at the same time. It's not all cluttered at all,
I wanted it, in fact, because the virus was raging. It was everywhere. It had overtaken
Yeah.
the world.
Absolutely.
I wanted a cover which was in the opposite theme, a break.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
time
of
to
that.
reflect
Yes.
on this one thing,
Let's clear our minds. Let's see what we've done. Let's push forward. Let's bring about a change.
bring about a change.
Yes.
And you have through your writing, And so tell me, what are your future plans? What have you got in the pipeline?
Oh, something very exciting.
Mhm.
I have a new book coming out. It's a novel,
Okay.
and I've been writing it for a while, since the book of my poems got published, and it's ready. It's almost ready. It comes out in the next couple of months.
Okay.
It's
What
it's
is it? What's the genre?
women or
Women, okay.
but it's about divorce, it's about marriage, and it's about moving forward, a new chance, a new hope, striving forward in a way not unlike what has gone before.
Okay.
It's a new world.
Okay, and so when can we expect to see it? Like, will it be available? Like, this is available on Amazon. When can we expect to sort of get our hands on your new book?
Well, I'm hoping in the next couple of months, in the winter months, it should be out.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's written, it's done the cover,
Oh,
done the
really?
title.
Wow.
So,
So you've been pretty productive, Kusum.
Not really, but thank you, Maha. I'm already thinking of something else, so yes, I'm glad about that.
Thank you so much, Kusum. It's been a pleasure having you here today. And I'm so glad we did this in London 2023. And thank you so much for joining us here today. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Maha's Musings, please do so. I'd love to hear your comments or any suggestions or feedback that you may have. I'm also on Instagram as Maha's Musings, so please do subscribe. Kusum's also on Instagram as well. She's got her page, Kusum Lata Sawhney. Do check it out. Check for her updates and see what she's going to be doing next and about her upcoming book as well. Thank you once again. Have a good day and weekend as well. Bye for now.
Thank you.